Okay, today is our last lesson on factoring. You made it. Today is 4.4, factoring by grouping and AC method. Okay? Honestly, these are kind of the harder two strategies, but they do relate to each other. And so just be patient. It takes practice to kind of get used to the process, but you will definitely get it. Okay? So when we have 4 terms, we can factor by grouping. Okay? And so this first strategy that we're learning is called grouping. And so I'm actually going to use this graphic organizer to help me go through the problem. If you also want a copy to tape into your notebook, just get one from the front of the room or ask either me or Mr. Whitaker because we have copies, okay? Or you can just write in your notebook, whatever your heart desires. So the equation or function that we're going to be dealing with is 12x to the third minus 9x squared plus 4x minus 3, okay? And the reason why it's called grouping is because we actually group together the first 2 terms and then the last 2 terms. And if you look at step 1, it says find the GCF of the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. So we're going to have to find the GCF of the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. So numbers that go into 12 are those, right? Numbers that go into 9 are 1 and 9, 3 and 3. The biggest number that goes into 12 and 9 are 3. And then for exponent-wise, the smaller of the 2 exponents is x squared, right? And then for 4 and 3, okay, factors of 4, 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Factors of 3 are 1 and 3. So obviously the biggest number in both of the lists is 1. Right? And one of the 3 doesn't have an x. The 4 does have an x, so I can't take out any x's. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rewrite the equation. 12x to the third minus 9x squared plus 4x minus 3. And I'm going to write what we're dividing by for each one. So for the first 2 terms, we're dividing by 3x squared. The last 2 terms, we're just dividing by 1, right? And this should be familiar because this was the first way of factoring that we learned about. So the 3x squared is going to go on the outside, right? And now we're going to divide. 12 divided by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1, so x to the 1. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. I don't have anything. Okay, and then the second GCF is 1, so I'm going to put plus 1 because it's a positive 1. 4 divided by 1, I'm over here, 4 divided by 1 is 4. And then we have the x, minus 3 divided by 1 is just 3. Okay, now if you're doing this correctly, you will have what I call the twins, right? We have the twins. If you did this correctly, you should have twins. If you don't have twins, you did something wrong, okay? And so the twins, we're going to just factor it out. We're going to put in 1 parentheses like this. And then the non-twins, the GCFs, these are going to go in our other parentheses. And now we have here our factored form, okay? Again, a little bit more complicated. We're going to do another problem together. And then you're going to try some, okay? But the biggest thing, find the GCF of the first 2 terms, the last 2 terms, factor them out, find your twins, rewrite, okay? Let's do another problem together. Hopefully it'll make more sense. This is definitely the hardest factoring method we've learned so far. So let's say we have 2x to the third plus 5x squared plus 6x plus 15. So remember, we're grouping the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms together. You're asking yourself, what's the biggest number that goes into 2 and 5? A lot of y'all may already know what that is. In that case, don't write out everything that I'm writing. Numbers that go into 2 are 1 and 2. Numbers that go into 5 are 1 and 5. So obviously the biggest number is 1. And then the smaller of the two exponents is x squared. For 6 and 15, what's the biggest number that goes into 6 and 15? Well, some of y'all may already know, but in case you don't, I'm writing out the process. So I'm writing out all the numbers that go into 15, and I'm seeing what is the biggest number in both of these lists. In this case, it's 3. 15 doesn't have an x, can't take out an x. I'm going to rewrite the equation. 2x to the third plus 5x squared plus 6x plus 15, and I'm going to write what we're dividing by in each one. So the first two terms we're dividing by 1x squared. The next two terms we're just dividing by 3. So the 1x squared goes on the outside, and then on the inside we divide. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 5 divided by 1 is 5. 2 minus 2 is 0. Now, the second GCF is 3. And then we divide again. 6 divided by 3 is 2, so 2x, plus 15 divided by 3 is 5. Do we have our twins? Yes, we do. We have our twins, right? So our twins go in one parentheses, the 2x plus 5, right? That's the twin, right? And then here we put our GCFs, the things on the outside, this and this, okay? And this right here is our final answer, okay? If this doesn't make sense to you, either go back, rewind the video, and watch it again, or ask a teacher or a peer near you, okay? If you have questions, let us know. Move on to practice otherwise.